Alright, this week's GM is a bit of a chill one, so we're not going to get into anything super complicated here. I'm not going to break down every weapon you should be using. It's fairly relaxed. You can use most of anything that you would want, other than, of course, just setting up your anti-barrier / overload weaponry. Other than that, you could use whatever, Threaded Needle, 1K, a rocket, you could use Scepter, Wither Horde, Izanagi, a Sniper, Divinity, bows, ARs, etc. And Arion as well, of course. So weapon-wise, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna leave that up to player preference. For my recommendations in terms of supers, I'm gonna go ahead and suggest Shadebinder on Warlock primarily, and if you have two Warlocks, one Well, one Shadebinder. Shadebinder works really well with turret freezing certain spawns of the enemies, such as in the triple wave room with the scannable. On top of that, it's also really synergistic with Agar's Scepter, which is huge crowd control in the first half of this Nightfall, as well as in the boss room, especially if you have a Well of Radiance, to kind of camp down in a hallway when there's a bunch of Vandals coming at you, and you just freeze everything instantly. So for Well, I'm not going to go into what you should use for Well. It's pretty standard, you know, Well, Phoenix, etc. For Shadebinder, I'm going to show it on screen right here. I have Bleak Watcher on, Glacial Harvest, Whisper of Conduction, Bonds, Durance, and Torment, and then you don't really need to pick any grenade because you're going to be throwing your turrets anyway, but I have Dustfield on for my grenade. Titans, your number one choice is pretty much going to be Ursa Banner Shields because Thunder Crash is not really effective in this Nightfall. It doesn't do much to a Spider Tank, a Brig, the boss immunes. You could do it on an Overload Captain, for example, but realistically you don't want to be spending your whole super killing one single champion in this Nightfall, whereas Banner Shield protects your allies, obviously makes a ton of orbs. In the boss room as well, you can be in a corner and just making orbs to your teammates when Sepix is just shooting you down in the immune phase, so it has utility there. And also detonators are really good because there's tons and tons of enemies and enemy density in this Nightfall. As far as hunters go, the number one pick in my eyes is going to be Bottom Tree Nightstalker for this Nightfall. There's a few reasons why. So first off, Bottom Tree Nightstalker, you can chain nades a lot, especially with 6 Coyote or Omnioculus. And then you can throw Void Walls onto the Spider Tank, which actually melts him because it hits multiple legs at once. On top of that, you can use the Tether, which is Quiver on Bottom Tree, to pretty much melt down Briggs fairly quickly, as Quiver hits like a truck on Briggs and Wyverns for that matter in Master Vogue. It just helps you get through those little mini boss fights quicker, because the Briggs can be annoying, especially if you go into their nuke phase and you have to hide half the time. And then, of course, there's obviously the invis survivability factor, where you can just constantly go invis, make your teammates invis, get ammo while doing that, and Bottom Tree Tether is the play, in my opinion. Alright, let's talk about actual gameplay now. The opening part of the strike is nothing crazy, so I'm not going to really tell you, hey, go shoot these guys and go proceed. We're going to skip that, we're going to go into the inside of the strike, and when you get to the first room with the Anti-Barrier Knight, there's going to be some Fallen and some Thrall. Go ahead and kill the Fallen and Thrall first, and then deal with the Knight afterwards. Once you've done with the Boomer Knight, go forward, you're going to go down the ramp, and once you hit the doorway from that ramp, you're going to go ahead and go left, kill the Wizard, which is a Solar Shield first. The reasoning for this is, once you kill the Wizard, walk a couple of feet forward, and a bunch of Thrall will spawn in front of you in a doorway. Just throw a nade, or maybe an Anarchy Trap, something like that. Kill all the Thrall instantly, so they don't, kill you from behind. Just get it over with. Then go back into the doorway, go to the right this time, and then start working on your first Overload Captain. Pretty easy kill from here. Once you kill him, go forward. You're going to meet a Boomer Anti-Barrier Knight champion. Go ahead and deal with him quickly, because he can be a giant pain in the ass with him hitting you over almost a head glitch, really. And then he also tumbles away and runs away if you don't immediately kill him, which could create a small problem because he'll be in the middle of the room with a bunch of Fallen and other Hive enemies. Then, once you've cleared the Knight out, go ahead and start killing the Wizards and the Sniper Vandals that are going to be on the ledge by the box that you're going to need to scan afterwards. Kill the Snipers and the Wizards, then finally deal with the Overload Captain in the end, and then go ahead and start scanning the machine. Now, right away, the easiest thing I could tell you to do is, as soon as you scan the machine, go ahead and backpedal to the front of the room where you just came from, the same place where you killed that Hive Wizard and the first Overload Captain. From there, you can see all the enemies spawn in and then not even look at you from the start and start shooting them down. Again, something like Agar's Scepter is really good here because you can start freezing entire waves of enemies. You're going to go ahead and kill all the Vandals / Dregs / Captains. And then once you've killed the last few dregs in this room, you're going to get 3 more dregs spawning in. This time they'll be orange bar, I believe, with Lord of Wolves, so watch out for that. Once you kill them, you're going to get a wave of shanks. Once you've killed all the shanks, and I do recommend you keep one shank alive for the very end, once you've dealt with all of them, then you're going to go to wave 2. In this wave, you're going to get Fallen plus Hive. It's going to be the same thing. They're going to be marching out of those doors, and the Hive will be spawning kind of like the back decrepit side of the arena. Don't really worry about that. Go back to the beginning of the room once again. Repeat the process. Kill all the Fallen. Make sure the snipers are dead. The champ is dead. And then slowly pick away at the Hive. And then finally repeat the same process with the dregs and the shanks. And then wave 3 is going to be more of the same. Go back to the beginning. Kill all the enemies. Champions. Blah, blah, blah. Get your ammo. And then get out and go to the spider section. So for the spider tank part, first thing I'm going to recommend is don't even go out of the doorway just yet. Go ahead and start working on the sniper vandals that you're going to see in the arena. There's going to be one on the rooftop, one next to the server that might jump on the rooftop, but sometimes he's on the floor. And then all the way in the distance on the far right side, there will be 3 or 4 vandal snipers just kind of looking down at you. Make sure you kill all of those before you proceed to come out, because next thing you know, you'll just be dead from 2 sniper shots. So be very careful there. Once you've dealt with those, go ahead and deal with the barrier. You might have to deal with the barrier first, depending on your situation, if he's making all the enemies immune around him, you know. So play accordingly. If you have a well here, that is really helpful to getting that barrier shield down. And once again, I'll mention Agriceptor. If you have the Catalyst charge, you can outright just freeze the barrier and nuke him without worrying about him, and then kill the sniper vandals and move on. Now, after you do kill them, go ahead and slowly come out of the room and make sure you kill. There's a sniper vandal all the way to the left that you'll see immediately. Kill him, but then don't proceed forward, because once you jump on the rooftop and you actually hit the edge of the rooftop or anywhere past it, you spawn in the Brigs in this arena. Now, if you jump on the rooftop and just stand at the very beginning of the rooftop, you can actually shoot the spider tank and kill it without spawning either of the Brigs. One note to make here is that while linears burst the spider tank down pretty quickly, you want to be aware of when you're doing a lot of damage, because skips will be spawning in depending how fast you're doing the damage. And once the skips spawn in, I do recommend you get off the rooftop and wait for the skip to land, shoot its one shot or whatever, and then leave the arena, and then go back on top of the roof, finish the job for the spider tank, kill it, and then you can start working on Brigs that you spawn in with more enemies. Now, there's a bunch of ways you can do this next part with the Brigs. You can go far left or far right. Personally, I like going far right because you have the Brig right next to you after you've killed the spider tank. Work on the Brig, kill him, get him down, and then you kind of start making your way down the line with the Overload Captain, the Anti-Barrier Servitor, and so on. The only thing to watch out here is going to be the Vandal Snipers that are far, far, far away in the back that you should be killing from a distance, of course. Don't give them the line of sight. Don't get too close. I will say there is one little spot that you're going to see in the footage here where you can pop a well and then kind of kill the champions to your left without worrying about the snipers if you duck your head. Or you can pop the well and then obviously kill the snipers and then deal with the champions, making your life a lot easier. Once you've cleared all of that up and maybe you've recharged another super, go ahead and go after the left Brig, who pretty much won't be able to hit you the entire time until you peek. Go ahead and kill him. And then finally, you'll be met with one last or 2 Overload Captains at the gates before you head into the boss room. So for the boss fight, I'm sure most of you already know, left is your safety spot. That is where you will be doing the majority of this boss fight in. The left side has tons of cover, has a little room you can hide in, get ammo, and so on. All you have to really worry about for this boss fight is actually the ads, not the boss itself. The boss itself obviously can kill you, but if you do your position correctly, the boss is pretty much a non-factor in this fight. Really, all you have to deal with is a ton of enemies coming at you. After you kill all the enemies, you're going to kill the servitors that are protecting the boss, and then start doing damage on the boss, and then he'll shield up every 3rd health bar that you take down. So, for the boss fight itself, you're going to go ahead and start by killing the 2 Overlord Captains and the dregs in the arena, nothing crazy. Then, you're going to start to immediately damage the boss. You're going to want to get him down to 66% immediately, so he shields up before you get any enemies. Once you do that and you see a skip flying in, then immediately go ahead and go to the left side. This is where you want to use all your ad clearing gear. Tikus, Aggers, Well, Banner, maybe a Squall, your Shadebinder turret, etc. to clear out all the enemies as quickly as possible. It's also nice to throw a turret into the left side hallway where usually a captain will be sitting there waiting for you with an arc shield, or it could be an overload if you're in the final phase, so keep note of that. Again, it's worth noting, if you take a while to kill this main set of enemies, shanks will be coming down as well on top of that. So if you are taking a little bit to kill the enemies, which is fine, just get ready for the shank wave, and then once you've dealt with the shanks, go proceed with breaking the 4 servitors and then breaking the boss again. Once you've done that, if you have a well, pop it again. Make sure you shoot the boss as soon as he opens. Try to get him down to that 33% this time, and then repeat the process. The only difference now will be that the arc shielded captains will be overload captains, and you're going to want to go immediately into the left room, and this time you're going to try to take out the captains as fast as possible. You might need to take out the orange bar enemies first to get to the captains, so if you have to do that, otherwise if you get an instance done on one of the overloads, try to pepper him down immediately to give yourself some breathing room. Finally, last note of advice for the boss fight's final phase: once you do break the boss's shield for the final time, he will be summoning enemies at you during this time. What you could do is, instead of going out and killing all the enemies to feel safe, you could technically go downstairs into the basement, make sure there's nothing there. Sometimes there's 3 dregs and a vandal down there. Other than that, usually there are no enemies down there. What you could do is pop a well downstairs in the basement, and then proceed to nuke the boss, which would then complete the GM for you, and then you'd be done with Devil's Lair. Like I mentioned, there's nothing crazy about this Nightfall. It's pretty chill. You don't need a one specific set loadout or anything like that. So there you have it. That's week 5 of GMs. Devil's Lair is complete, and all that remains is Proving Grounds. That should be interesting with the new meta. We'll see you then. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, put on notifications. Also, I stream daily on Twitch, twitch.tv/TicketBeeper. I will be doing raffles for GM clears if you need it. Catch you then. Goodbye.